Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Kaz and I'm a channeler and a healer. Today we're working by candlelight, so please don't worry that I haven't lit anything properly. And there is a reason that we're working by candlelight today. I'm just going to pan down and show you that we've got some crystals set out here. We are going to do some crystal messages. The reason that I've got a candle is that we are channeling Nostradamus, and he said he prefers to do this at night under candlelight. So you may find it a little distracting watching the video, but you can listen very well. I haven't done a lot of research on Nostradamus. I did read a book many years ago, maybe even 15-20 years ago, by Dolores Cannon, and I seem to remember that he did like to do his scrying via candlelight, so that's why I've got candles today. We're going to ask for some collective messages from Nostradamus, and I'm going to go and use the Unakite Tower to channel that through. After that, there will be 3 groups so that you can get a bit of a personal reading from him. So we've got 3 crystals. One of them is a Herkimer diamond. Just let that focus. The second one is peacock ore. Can't see it so well under the candlelight. And the third one is white howlite. Not focusing so well. But you can go ahead and choose that group. If you don't want to listen to the collective message, you don't have to. You can go directly to your personal reading. The timestamps will be in the video chapters and also in the description below, so I'll see you there. Okay, I'm going to pick up the Unakite Tower and just channel through for the group. Greetings, beloved ones. I am here to advise you that you all have the power of prophecy. You can all do what I did, and you do not have to be circumspect about it as I was. I had to be incredibly careful with the energy that I was working with. I had to do this in absolute secrecy, and I found that there were times that it was very trying on me as a human being to do this. I always had the threat of execution over my head. Some of you will have experienced the same thing in other lifetimes, and so there is a collective energy of fear of persecution for your spiritual gifts. And by spiritual gifts, I mean those that cannot be seen or felt by everyone on the planet as tangible as you can do it for yourself. So even though everyone has this gift, not everyone will harness or accept it. And some of this non-acceptance is because of persecution that runs very rife within them. So please do not be alarmed by sharing at this point in time. For most of you on the planet, it is okay. For some of you, there is still censorship, but not to the extremes that we had it in the lifetime I am referring to. So if any of you fear stepping into your calling as a spiritual messenger, one of the reasons may be because you have been punished for it in other lifetimes. So that is something you may like to address. My gift was sight, and I could see things. I did not always know what the things I saw meant. And so in my descriptions, which had to be veiled anyway, I did not have the words to describe it, and thus some of them have been misinterpreted. Not all of them, but some of them. You do not have that issue in today's day because you can plainly speak. And as a collective of spiritual beings, we are very grateful for that. Man has evolved far enough that does not have to happen any longer. So this is Karen speaking here. My question to Nostradamus is, why has his legacy carried on for so long? And why is he still known after all of these centuries? So we're going to let him answer that. The answer to that question is very simple. It is a mystery, and people love a mystery. So if I didn't have to cloak my messages, if I didn't have to segregate myself when these messages were published, it wouldn't have been so enticing to people. People love a mystery, and they love to unravel, and they love to dig to find the truth. And of course, we all have our own truth from our own perspectives. So sometimes those messages are misinterpreted. The other thing that's happened is that these messages are multi-layered. When I received them, I saw in the candle flame what was being shown to me. But I did not understand the full significance of it. So one vision may have had 5 different meanings throughout time. My gift as a human in that lifetime was the ability to see through time and space, and to see the interconnectedness of everything. I'm not about to apologise for that gift, because it was a true gift. However, it was a burden for me at the same time, because of the fear of retribution, because people did not understand. There were times in my life where I was incredibly fearful because of those around me, all those whisperings around me. I had great gifts, but a great burden. And some of you may feel this in your own lives. You may have great gifts, but with that comes great burden. And the burden is, how do I use this wisely? How do I use this for the benefit of all? And how do I use this so it's not manipulated into something that can hurt people? Some of you may be facing this yourselves. Be circumspect, but also be free with your voice. If there are people who are not willing to listen to your message, that's okay. They're not in the space to do that. You will find your audience, and you will find who works best with you. I can come and visit any of you who would like some help. I can come and visit any of you who would like help developing your skills. You just need to call me and I will come. I do ask of you that you practice rigorously. I do ask of you that you exercise those skills. For some of you, you may be able to stare into the flame and receive the messages. For some of you, it may come in other ways. You may hear the messages. You may feel the messages. You may know the messages. It works different for different people, depending on what you chose to come in with. We're at a space in the timeline where things are available to you from other timelines, just as it was for me. I could see things on a multi-dimensional layer. At this time, you may only be able to see things from 2 or 3 different layers. I was able to see up to 5 layers. It wasn't always that way. I developed that skill over time. So my advice to you is to practice and to have faith in your abilities and to enjoy it, because There is no need to be fearful. Thank you, Nostradamus, for your messages there. We're going to go to each separate group now. So if you haven't already chosen your group, you can pause here and do so. Otherwise, I will see you at your reading. Crystal 1, you chose the Herkimer diamond. Just see if I can get it to focus in the candlelight. Not really. Anyway, we're going to see what Nostradamus has for you as a group. Greetings, beloved ones. I'm here once again with more messages for you. I see that you chose the clear crystal, and this is about seeing. So your gift is the vision, the sight of things, which was also my gift. So you might like to try scrying. You might like to stare into a flame or a bowl of water or a crystal ball or a crystal to see pictures and visions. You may not need any of these tools. Sometimes you do need to start here to develop the skill, but over time you may just be able to see it as a visionary process. Some of you have skills that are very raw in their abilities, and honing it can take some practice. For vision, what you can do is practice focusing outside in nature on a tree in the distance, and then a flower or a leaf up close, and then a tree in the distance, and then a flower or a leaf up close, and keep alternating this practice because you are training your eyes on different things. This not only helps your physical vision, it helps your spiritual vision. Coconuts will also help your spiritual vision. Consumption of coconut helps your spiritual vision. If you have access to coconuts in any form, says Nostradamus, that will certainly help with your vision. You don't need to rub them on your eyes. This is about ingesting. So it must be something to do with the constituents of coconuts. Helps with your spiritual sight. You can also rub it on your third eye too to help stimulate that sight. So coconut oil on the third eye. When you first start this practice, if it's not something you've done before, just be aware that things can pop in that may be a little unsettling. And I don't mean to scare you here. What I would like to say here is sometimes when your channels first open, there may already be things sitting in there. It's like having a fly sitting outside a window, and when it opens it can flow into the house. It can fly into the house. So please always protect yourself. Create a safe circle before you start your practice. If you are outside in nature, nature helps this process. You do not have to guard as much because nature protects the process. This process is strongly linked with being outside and in nature, and strongly linked with not using artificial light. So natural sunlight or firelight or candlelight will enhance the skill. Be brave with your visions. Accept them as they are. If you are scrying for other people, be truthful with what you see, but temper your words so they are kind. Sometimes you will not understand what you are seeing, but still speak the words and describe what you are seeing. Part of this skill is not just the seeing, it's the description of what you are seeing. And that needs to be developed too. I wish you well on this journey, and of course I am always available for you to call on to help you with this skill. Blessed be. There you are, Group 1. A lovely message from Nostradamus. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Crystal 2. We're going to get some messages from Nostradamus for you here. Okay, Crystal 2. Greetings, beloved ones. You are my wise people. You are my knowers. You are the sentient beings. You are the feelers. You are the knowers. You know things. Occasionally you hear things. But your primary skill is knowing and sensing. You may already get a lot of messages, but maybe you do not realize you are getting those messages. It's like you have an antenna on your whole body, a lot of little antennas all over your body that are always receiving information. This can get overwhelming because you are always on. So your practice needs to be turning it on and turning it off. Because if you're always picking up information, it can be very draining to your system, your nervous system, and your spiritual system. You also become a bit of a magnet for energies that like to interfere with your system because they see it shining brightly. So that is why it is important to turn it off. Now when I say turn it off, it doesn't go 100% off. It dials down to 90% because you need 10% warning system. So if there's something that enters your space that is dangerous to you or to your loved ones, you will get a warning about it if that is meant to be so. Of course, we're working in the constraints of spiritual and universal laws with that. So if it is something you are meant to experience, you will. This is not meant to be an alarming message. This is meant to be a message of you do not have to be on at 100% capacity all the time, because you have a reserve battery capacity of 10%. That is your alarm warning system. So turning it on and off is practice that needs to happen, and in some ways you can facilitate this include setting up an altar where you do the practice, having a ritual to open and close the practice, gridding the area you are going to practice in, having the intent to practice, and calling in ascended masters and archangels to assist you with the practice and opening and closing the practice. When it becomes a deliberate opening and closing, you will have more energy for yourself and your powers deepen because they become more concentrated in that time and space. Because you are the feeling, knowing group, you most likely have healing gifts. So that opening and closing may be when you are attending to someone in a healing capacity and that may be your opening and closing. If you have a practice where you see one person at a time, that is easy to manage. If you are an attendant in a hospital, and I'm just going to butt in as Karen here, what I'm doing is seeing a nurse or a doctor or someone going around to multiple patients. So what he is getting at here is if you've got multiple patients you're looking after at once. So if you are an attendant in a hospital, you will need to devise ways to make sure that you are looking after these people at the time that you're looking after them. When you are having your meal breaks, you need to close it down again. Otherwise your energy keeps going. When you finished your work for the day, you need to close it down again. Otherwise your work keeps going. Please bear this in mind. If you have a clinic where you're seeing one person at a time, after that person has left, you need to close it down again. Otherwise your energy sits with them. Energy works in a way where you're making a connection with someone and that bond is held until you break it. Breaking the bond does not mean that the other person is suffering in any way. What it means is you are holding your energy for yourself again. And you can then attend to your own body's needs. And I'm just being reminded here, I'm going to jump in as Karen again. Sorry, I'm jumping to and from. But they're putting my example into my head here with this. I work as an energy healer, and I recall one day I had a thumping headache, absolutely thumping, but I had a client that really needed my help. So I did consider cancelling the appointment, but I didn't. And when I walked into the room, my headache vanished. And for the time I was with my client, I had no headache. As soon as the client left, my headache came back again. So that is just an example of how the energy works and how it opens up and closes down again. Okay, we're going back to Nostradamus now. He has one final message for you here. Be at peace with your gifts. Because you may have been switched on from birth, there may have been times during your life where you've been told you're too sensitive, or you've felt way too sensitive when other people are just carrying on and they are not feeling this depth of pain that you feel at times. A lot of this pain is not yours. It belongs to people around you or the world at large. And using your discernment and distinguishing between what is yours and what is someone else's really will help you come along in life. And learning how to open and close the gateway of your energy and your antenna will certainly go a long way in helping with this. Go back on work on any times where you were told you were too sensitive or you resented your sensitivity. When you come to terms and you accept that you are a sensitive person, it'll give a power surge to your gifts, and they will come along a lot faster and with a lot more intensity. Go well, beloved ones. Thank you, Nostradamus, once again for group 2. If you like this content, please like my video, and I will see you in the next one. Group 3, we've had some interesting things coming from Nostradamus here. I'm just going to pick up your crystal so I can channel this one through, and again, you can't see it that well. Okay. Greetings, beloved ones. I feel for you in this group. You may have become frustrated lately with your gifts. You may have had some gifts that have appeared and disappeared over time. And I would like to say to you that as a general rule here, your thoughts are interfering with your gifts. Now, these thoughts may not even be yours. They may have been learnt behaviour from other people, or from stories that you've heard, or from other lives. So reframing and realigning yourself to all that is will help with your gifts here. They may have been dampened down by stress in life. They may have been dampened down by other people's opinions. But for you, your gifts are there. You may need to acknowledge them and invite them in. You may need to re-invite them in. Maybe you've had them and they've gone, or maybe you were completely new to this process. There are varied gifts in this group. Some of you hear things, some of you feel things, some of you smell things, some of you taste things, some of you do all of that. There are varied amount of gifts. That does not diminish any of them. What diminishes them is your thoughts, and for some of you, what you're putting into your body. For a very few of you, it may be your living surroundings. Please know that your human body is an extension of your spiritual self, and it does need to be treated with respect. I see in the world that you live in, there are a lot of temptations, and there is a lot of access to things that are not natural to the human body. So have a little think and a little look at what you're putting in that you can pull back on. There may need to be some work around acceptance of you as a human being. Maybe you recall being something other than human and how nice a space that was. But you are here to experience and to learn. There's some thought processes here that do not belong to you. And I and your guides will start to show you what these may be, if you allow us to. You can just ask. When you lay your head on your pillow, you can ask us to help show you what may be interfering with your spiritual gifts. Being in balance is the biggest gift that you can give yourself currently. Being in balance physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. When you're in balance, your gifts start to come in. Your energetic column, sometimes known as your chakra system, would benefit from having regular practices of alignment and balancing or attention. We knew some of these things in my lifetime as Nostradamus, but not to the extent that you have resources in this current time. Utilise those resources. Explore the resources. See what works for you. And you will come into alignment with your true nature of being a spiritual being who can process your gifts in a balanced way. We ask you adhere to spiritual law and use your gifts in a positive way when they come to you or when you accept them. Some of you may have been told that your gifts are evil. That is not the case. They are neutral. It's how you choose to use them puts a positive or negative charge onto them. Thank you for being with us in this moment. And of course, you can call on me to assist with the gift of prophecy, or seeing, or hearing, or feeling, or tasting, or smelling. Those things that are not currently tangible on the earthly plane. Blessed be. Thank you, Nostradamus, for that final message for the group. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me bring you more messages like this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.